brought candy from Poland, and I'm going to ask her for my piece before she starts. They used to call me Candy Man.
Candy Man?
The kids.
Is this on?
Is this all you brought?
Is your switch on? Yeah, it says always on, yeah.
Okay. Speak loud.
Yeah.
Both.
Our pleasure.
Dzień dobry.
Yeah, hi. Good morning.
Oh, it's good morning.
Favor.
Yeah, as you can see, I live in that little town there in Poland. Oh, sure, now it doesn't look like this. Little town. According to Polish standards, it's a small town with about 190,000 people. There are only, as far as I know, 4 evangelical churches, small churches in that whole city. And we have some modern things. That's our bus station. The Bishop's Palace. Behind there is a castle ruins. It's a beautiful area. Live in the Holy Cross Mountain region. This is our smaller shopping mall. About 180 stores. The larger one is there. It takes up basically a whole block, over 300 stores. Poland has malls. The United States is going out of the malls, aren't they? That is the hospital that I was in for my hernia surgery. I had cancer surgery, and then a year later I had a major hernia. And this hospital, as you can see, is out in the woods. I chose this hospital because the director of the hospital used to be my English student. And it was a way so that I didn't have a lot of people visiting me because I needed to recover, because I remembered from the cancer surgery, it was really a rough recovery. The hernia surgery was even rougher for the surgery. The day afterwards, that nurse had me up. That's the head nurse. And she kept coming into my room and said, "Don't go for a walk without me." And she told me, it's like in Esther, you're here for a time as this, because of the stories that I would tell her about Jesus and how he was working. And that meal there, that is a typical supper or breakfast in Poland, in the hospital, in the public hospital. As you can see, I had a beautiful bed. But I did have a room by myself because it was such a difficult surgery. And the nurse invited me to her house for supper. That is not normal. So I had a lot of time with her. My neighbors helped me because I couldn't walk by myself. It was too dangerous, so they were walking with me to make sure that I could get stronger. And this here is during the time that we shut down. I hadn't been here for 5 years, so I needed to include this with you. We everything was closed. We weren't allowed to be in church. And I was the missionary of the week in my home church. And I watched my home service online, and I was like, oh no, the pastor prayed for me. And he prayed that I would have some special kind of ministry, unique ministry during this time. 2 hours later, the pastor from Kielce, where I live, called me and said, "Janna, can you prepare a puppet show for the kids that we can have video online?" So these are pictures from that scene, from the puppet show. And just to give you a little idea of how my setup is in my apartment, for the other ones, I ended up making, I think, 3 or 4 more videos with different, for the children's message that we were able to show. I really want to get one of those green suits so that we can do this a little better. It was just a lot of fun to put it together. Christmas time, it was open. We could be in church. And usually at Christmas time when I'm there, they have me do the puppets live with help. As you can see, behind the screen there, can you see up above? That's where our screen is, like we would be here. And up behind us is the screen. Well, I had prepared a song the way that they were singing because of, they had those little tiles, you know? So I prepared all black. And then when the chorus came, with us, who can be against us?
Yay, Isaac!
And yes, I recorded every one of those individually with the entire chorus, and then pieced it all together. It was kind of fun. And of course, the kids want to do more. For winter, we have usually 2 weeks free in school, and one of those weeks, we have a day camp. Last year, we had the Everest Expedition Winter Day Camp. It's intense. It's just our church kids. Each day is a different theme. I got to make these posters. Different verses. And with the whole thing, we had the whole idea of the Everest expedition. We even built our own little Mount Everest in there, if you can see that, in the church. And of course, we had a tent there. And each day there was somebody that gave a message, and we had games and crafts. No, we didn't have crafts this year. We just had games. You just taught me. It's not letting me go. Oh, there we go. And near us is a wall climbing place. So of course, Everest, they have to go climb walls, right? I don't know if you can see in there the TV crew. We had the TV crew filming us, filming that whole scene and talking to our church people because it was a national program about community and church and what it means. And they chose our church to do this with. We had an actual man who was a rock climber. You can't see him back, but he is on the picture way in the back. He is on the mountain. Mountain climber, yeah. And he was sharing with the kids that, you have to be prepared. You have to get yourself ready. You can't just go do it. So, one of our men had this idea that we need to prepare them before they go out on our climb. So, he had them go out and walk in the snow barefoot. And not all the kids were real excited about that, as you can see shortly. It's fun. They climbed out, and they climbed up our ski hill, which we called our Mount Everest. We had Mount Everest in the church and Mount Everest outside of the church. So they climbed up, and that's the view from up on top. They actually made it. And another day they went out and they had to do tracking. That's the top right corner there. One group went out and they made arrows of all different things, sticks and things, and the other group had to try to find them. It was kind of hard because it was raining that day, but then they had to meet up someplace. So it was kind of a fun activity. And our church people put together the meals for the kids. So it was all day, we had them. And then they had other activities. This is the little kids there were being quizzed, Bible questions and stuff. Games, and of course, we had other really cool waiting for We had a physicist come, and he was talking about, that was 5.321. And they had using liquid nitrogen, put a balloon in there, and it expanded, and they were trying to hit that little boy because he was so talkative. We had 3 kids try hitting him. But it was really fun for the kids. And that evening, where they stay overnight, the pastor gives the evening devotion, and of course my job is to make popcorn because I'm the American. So we make popcorn. The kids actually stay overnight. They decide which parents are going to stay overnight with them and have breakfast with them. and then they watch a movie. It's just fun for the kids. That's what the church looks like inside. I believe that was Easter. I sit right above where the pole is because I'm on the worship team and play clarinet. Our new adventure that we've been doing in the last couple of years is hand miming. And this was from the Easter production. We did Gloria. That's what it looks like when the lights are on. But when you turn the black light on, that's what you see. So it's really fun, and it's fun for the kids to do. That's our church family. I actually am in that picture wearing the same sweater. We have Kids Club. This particular week was, they all had to get across the river in various ways. Had to carry a friend across the river. That's their little teddy bear on the back. They had to get across the river. There was more than one, and they had less plates, and they had to figure out how to do it. Nobody told them how to get across without falling off of a plate. And then they had to safely get some people across without getting into the bombs that were in the water there, those walls. It's kind of fun activity. I also do children's messages almost every week. It's really something. They have me do it in English because our service is broadcast online and many people watch it. So then there's a little message for those that don't understand Polish. And our kids get a little bit of English lesson in there at the same time. So it works well. That top left corner there, I was having him plant seeds on a rock. Didn't work so well. They didn't think they were going to grow. Summer, June 24th actually, was my 25 years in Poland. And the church had a special, day for me. They celebrated. The pastor's wife, Janusz, the pastor's wife from before, he died about 5 years ago. She put together a slideshow of my whole story of all the time that I was in Poland, and I just went, what? No. Oh yes, and it was just incredible. It was incredible for me. They gave me a blessing box, which they wrote different notes for me. And also a box they had for me that they're taking out a collection to try to get me to Norway, because all of my great-grandparents were born in Norway, and I live so close, and I don't take vacations, and they're trying to get me to go. It's hopefully this summer. I don't know. But the church people, and I thought it was amazing the way that they loved me and showed me their support in just that one day. It's incredible. We did Google Maps. You see on the, can you see that? Yeah, on the top, right there. That is our Indian village. And this whole area here, that's the Indian village. This street has now been named after the pastor that started it, the one that died. It's now named after him. We take up this whole area, while we do the Indian village. And right there is where Janna lives, with the pastor, where they lived before. It's on her cousin's land. It is incredible. This last year, registration started at 8 o'clock in the morning. They were full by 8:03. And we had a waiting list of over 100. 397 kids. Wow. From what I remember. Awesome. And this is kind of what it sounds like every day as they're gathering. It's a small community and kids come from all over. I don't think there's any youth that are walking around outside anywhere while this is going on. I think they're all here. Every beginning session, they're all gathered together, and then at the beginning as well. It's quite a group. It's grown a lot from that one little teepee. This year I got to have English games. I'm trying to figure out how to figure out English games for the Indian village. Listen. I say woman, this is what I had kids do. I said the word woman. They heard the word woman. What did they do? Scream. Ah! Right? When I said cowboys, they went, yee-haw! When I said wolves, they went, oh! When I said Indians, woo! When I said gun, it was bang, bang. Stagecoach, click, 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 click. And arrow. Are you ready? Ready to try?
Okay.
Long ago, in the times of stagecoaches. And cowboys. Yeah. And Indians. There was a group of cowboys. Yeah. And women. That rode along in the stagecoach. The women were really afraid. They didn't want to see the Indians. Nor did they want to see the wolves. You get the idea. It was really fun. I think some of the kids really got into it. That picture there, I think they were saying women, and they just screamed. Our ears were hurting. It was so fun. We have 14 different tribes, and with that we have 14 stations. So they cycle through the stations. They have 2 stations the very first day because we have the orientation, and then Tuesday through Friday they have the rest of the stations, 3 stations for each. And at the end of the week, they're all building up for the end of the week. They have to, their conduct, their character, how they treat each other, whether or not they participate, whether or not they win, that's another thing. There are points for everything. Cleaning, how they treat the other teams, how they lose, everything is that. Counts toward the end. And the man in the middle is now our pastor. It's kind of fun because he did come through our evangelistic conference and came to Christ through that, and then he went to seminary and became a pastor. And he came back and took the place of our pastor who died. So it's kind of fun with that. So it's a huge activity. This is what it looks like in the evening when all your parents are there. That is probably maybe 600 people up on that hill. It is really something. The town has maybe 200 people. And of course you need all of this pretty quickly because it's very important. It's all structured that our leaders, our volunteers, many of them who are working with the kids, have to be trained by the government. It has to be a government program. Everything is very structured. They keep track of everything. So it's very safe for the kids. And of course, what's the Indian village without the tug of war? That's at the end. It's just fun too, because I know in a few years, some of these little kids are going to be our volunteers. And they're going to be helping us with it, because most of them that are there now went through the Indian village and grew up. And they can hardly wait until they can help us with it. Of course, this is one of the activities at the end. They were racing with their canoes. It's all about the people, isn't it? The bottom center, that's Janna. She was the pastor's wife before, and she was the director of women's ministry. The gal next to her, years ago, after she came through the Indian village and came to Christ, I was discipling her, and she is now our pastor's wife. So it's really fun for me to see. As you can see the paperwork there, I mean, that's a lot of paperwork for that Indian village. Last day, the firefighters get to do something fun. Usually they're putting out fires. On the last day, they get to spray the kids. And everybody loves it. That is just our volunteers. 150. We have 150 people that are volunteers, plus our church people. And most of our church is involved. It's a beautiful area. graces us with some gorgeous sunsets in the evening after we've been so tired with the kids. This was the crew that we had for the 5. We only had these 5 Americans come for the Indian village. Next year will be interesting because we're having a team come from Ireland. So Irish chiefs. But 2 of these men are from Texas and the rest are from Illinois. And then we have the worship service there in the teepee on that following Sunday, because we end on Saturday afternoon. Then we go into our English camp. That's fun. That one is 24/7. We're there all the time. We have a crew that comes from the United States. Hopefully we will get a good amount of people this year. And we're hoping to have about 80 to 100 people at the camp. Last year we had 70 for 5 of us, I believe. I ended up getting the tweens. The tweens are the 11 and 12-year-olds. They're in between the youth, in between the children and the teenagers. So I got the tweens. The fun thing was, 3 were from my church. And another boy was also from Keltec. One of the evening activities we did idioms. Now these are literal idioms. See if you can figure out what they are. This one. Who let the cat out of the bag? The top left 2. Barking up the wrong tree. The top right 2. By the skin of your teeth. And the bottom right 2. Up the creek. Off the creek without a paddle. Yeah, we had them do literal, and then we taught them the meaning in their group, and then we had them do the real. It's kind of fun. Also, we like to take a trip, and near where our camp was, there's a miniature park where I believe it's different items from about 88, I think, different countries. So they're miniature forms of everything. And that's quite an adventure to go to that up in the hill. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. God really did a lot with the way He created our earth. It's beautiful. At the camp they have Bible study. We call it English reading time. They have English lessons, conversation time, evening activities, and then, of course, worship time. One evening, we lost power. And it was just before the evening service. It happened to be the evening that I was sharing my testimony. And we lost power. It was all dark, so we thought, oh no, how are we going to do this with no music, no anything? About 10 minutes before our evening activities started, the lights came on. And we made it all the way through. And about 5 to 10 minutes afterwards, the lights went out. God supplied the energy for that time. It didn't let them, they didn't stop at all. They just were playing the games in the evening. First they put bottles of water on their phones, the light on their phones. And so they lit up with that. And then they decided the cups because they wanted to drink their water. But that's how they played. And you can see that they had, the bottom is the worship service. Like I said, it's all about people. That says Taco Cat spelled backwards is Taco Cat. It was his birthday and he asked me to wear that shirt. So I did that for him. But it's people. That's the whole group. And then, of course, our team. Those are people from Ukraine, Poland, California, Illinois, Minnesota, North Carolina. We have our teams last year. And of course, we have to always take one of these kind of pictures. The boy on the right, a year ago, he was in the children's group, and he was so sad. He hated being there. This year, he was in the tween group, and because we had enough team members that we could have the classes, I was able to do the tween group, and it totally changed. He was speaking all the time. His English was incredible. How it improved that much, I don't know, but I think it was just his attitude. The change of feeling like he belonged was much more prevalent for him to be able to speak and to enjoy. The guy on the left, he's from Kelsa. I had no idea he was in our Indian village. I didn't know him, but he ended up being in our group. And his mom is going to be the caterer for our camp this coming summer. And she was talking to us as we were planning for the camp this summer, and she told me that before our camp, he hated English. He was getting really bad grades, almost failing grades. And now he's getting 6s. 5s are A's. He's excelling because of the excitement that happened because of our English camp. Maybe too because I was a little crazy in there. I'm not sure about that. But I had fun with them. At our evangelistic conference, we have every year, it's called Days of Renewal. This year I got to have the kids for the afternoon, so we played a game, Capture the Flag. Polish version. But they had me do s'mores too at the end. That's the whole group. This is people from all over Poland that are there for that event. And we had a beautiful setting, the sunset, gorgeous. We also started game nights for our youth. And they're at my place. Croquet in the dark. That's kind of interesting. You can't even tell what color the ball is that you're hitting, but it was fun. And we started to have it at our place because my neighbors, Eugene and Donna, they're the couple working with kids with me. We share one wall. And so we have it there, and the kids are out of town. They have only one bus that they have to take rather than 2 or 3 to get to the church. So it really works out good. And then we have, of course, all the games. We don't have to carry them to church. But it's fun to have it at our apartments. And the kids are enjoying it. We have that twice a month. Ladies' retreat. It's another thing I'm involved with, helping to plan it. The lady up in the top left corner is the director of women's ministry for Poland. And I get to help her with some of the planning. This evening was my session on being thankful, and they made thankful posters. And of course, what's a ladies' retreat without crafts and puzzles? And music, of course. It's a variety of ages, from 2 years old, and there's teenagers, up to about 90 years old in the women's retreat. This is just the lower region of Poland, but it's all about people. Of course, the fun thing I like to do is ride a bike, and they have these little stations all over the place. The lower left is a map. That's the one bike route that I ride. Well, I only ride a little part of it, and it goes past this castle. My bike is 24 years old. It's fun. And one of the areas that I ride is this whole thing, but now there's a bike path alongside it. So it's a lot different. And that's from the top going down, but this is what it looks like from the bottom going up. I figure if I ride that 4 times, I'm in shape. Not all the same day. It's fun. I really enjoy it. I'm so thankful that I can still ride. You know, I had to put that in. Those little cars, no, they're not normal. They just happen to be sitting there, and I put my bike up next to it. It was a fun picture. This was our winter hand mime that we did for Christmas. We filmed it before I left, and then I pieced it together when I got here. As you see, I have to do a lot of editing. You can see all the other different colors, but hopefully A very incredible blessing for me is, I'm single, I don't have a family. But a couple that live next door, I was at their wedding in Ukraine, 6 or 7 years ago. And they moved to Kielce. Well, Eugene lived in Kielce before, and then he got married and came back. And they lived in several places in Kielce, and my apartment opened up next door, and they lived next door to me, so we share a wall. And their little boy is calling me Grandma. So I have this little grandson, Janna, that's what he says. And he comes and he'll knock on the door. And just come on in, turn around and go, Papa, Mama, and go, oh. And it's really fun. I never dreamt that I would have that. But God has given me that, and it's been an incredible blessing, especially this year. Because he's 2, he'll be 3 in April. But when I went home last year when I was here. I wanted to come up here, but I couldn't get up here because I had cancer and I had to have surgery on my face. And then I was going right back to Poland after that. This is my little nephew, my grandnephew, Daniel. The picture there with me and him, that's my only picture. I got to meet him. But 6 weeks after I returned back to Poland, this little boy died. That picture was taken a year ago, Valentine's Day. He died a year ago tomorrow. So it's having little David around has been helpful. That was hard because I had just returned back to Poland 6 weeks. And this little 2-year-old is gone. 3.5 months later, I got the call that my baby brother had died. It was June. And it was just before my 25th anniversary in Poland, being there. And the people just poured on me. It was incredible. I got the idea to play Amazing Grace on the clarinet to send for the funeral. And one of the men at the church helped me put it together. We actually took it in four different views, and he pieced it all together for me to send. Because I didn't think I was going to be able to go. We didn't know what was happening. And then my sister asked me to write the eulogy. So I got to write the eulogy and put that on video and send that. And they also wrote a poem for the back of the card. My home church offered to pay all expenses for me to come for the funeral. But God did not give me a green light. So the finances were not an issue. It was what was right for me and for the ministry and all the different things. So now that I've been back here, it's been hard. And it's been hard being with my family because they've gone through all of this that I have not. And I'm still holding a lot in. Hopefully one of these days the healing will come, but he was my baby brother. And it's all about the people. The people. The lady in the top center there, she is one of our missionaries. 1 hour or 1.5 hours before we finished the Indian village, she fell and broke both of her arms. Yeah, so throw that into the mix with everything. The Indian village, my brother's funeral was on July 6th. The Indian village started July 8th. So that was another thing. She fell and broke both her shoulders, and so we had that time in between that we were going to be preparing for the English camp, and that got switched. The pastor's wife and I, we had to go to the hospital. We went to help feed her because she couldn't feed herself, and they weren't feeding her at the hospital. So we took some shifts so that her husband wouldn't have to be there the entire time. But she's okay. She's in the States right now. She's going back to Poland. The lady on the top right, she has not yet trusted Christ, but her mind is now going. And she's so confused, and it's really hard trying to speak with her. So her name is, her name just went out of my head. How do you say it in English? Yeah, I just lost her name. Anyway, she is an elderly woman, and Janna and I have been working with her. She's really hurting, but she's going downhill. I think you could pray for her, the lady with no name. Why can I not remember her name right now? The young man down below here, I was at his wedding, and that's the young man that took care of me after my cancer surgery. He did all my shopping for about 6 months. It's incredible, but it's all about the people. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. like them